Good morning, Power Boosters. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin. So as you can see, I did get my truck back, and I did not have to wait super long. It was gone, I want to say 6 days, which was not great. They didn't even offer a loaner, but thankfully, because my wife works from home, I was able to use her car most of the time. She eventually needed to use her car to go into the office, so it was going to become a problem, but I ended up getting the truck back before I had to beg and plead for a loaner, which I don't think you should have to do with the cost of these trucks, but that's a whole nother issue. So the service advisor had originally said that it was something to do with the O2 sensor, but that apparently was not the case. It had to do with the heat exchanger, which from reading the forums, I read that the heat exchanger issues are prevalent on the Powerboosts. It has to do with potential coolant leaking and then just malfunctioning heat exchangers. So that makes me a little nervous. I'm fortunate because I guess a lot of these issues were happening earlier on in 2022, and the heat exchanger part was not available. It was back ordered, so a lot of these people who were having this issue didn't have access to that part, and their trucks were out of commission for a while. I was thankful that it was only 6 days for me. Still not happy that that is happening to my truck, because it seems to be a problem with the parts on this particular powertrain. I'm also a little bit nervous about the amount of condensation that's coming out of the exhaust. So I also did a little bit more reading on that, and I'll show a little video here. Just the truck idling. If for example, I don't do this very often, but I did the remote start just to, kind of look on the outside of the truck and listen to the exhaust system and whatnot, and noticed that there was a lot of water coming from, I guess, an exit point on one of the mufflers just prior to the catalytic converter. And I guess that's a normal thing. I'm used to condensation and water coming out of the tailpipe of vehicles, and I think from what I read, it has to do with the length of the exhaust systems on these trucks, that they have that extra exit point for the water so that the condensation doesn't create excess wear or excess degradation because of the length of it, and the water doesn't get trapped in there for longer. I think that's the case. If you guys know more, and I'm sure most of you guys who watch my channel know more technical information than I do about any of these trucks, this is all just stuff I'm reading online, so some of you may be more mechanically inclined. So if you have any more insight on this, please put that in the comments below. But definitely makes me nervous. I don't know if I'm at the point where I would trade in the truck and just move on to a different vehicle just not to deal with the headache, because I love this truck so much. But that remains to be seen. I don't know if I have another code come on here at one point soon. I'm going to very likely consider that, just because I've never had a vehicle that's been under 10,000 miles. I'm even under 9,000 miles at this point that has had any check engine light come on for whatever reason. So it's definitely something that I know can happen, but I don't think should happen, and I don't feel comfortable about the future reliability of a car that's already throwing engine codes sub 10,000 miles. So we'll see what happens. Interesting enough, I've never driven a truck in the snow, and we're about to get a pretty epic snow event based on we get this lake effect snow where I'm at, that the lakes are, for this time of year, they're unseasonably warm, and when the Arctic air comes down from the north and blows across them in such a way, it sets up these lake effect snow bands, which then dump snow, and I'm usually in one of those areas that the wind and the condensation are in alignment and creates this huge accumulation of snow. So we could very well soon see how this truck does in the snow. So that'd be interesting to see what the video holds. I'm going to make sure that I have a full tank of gas, because definitely during some of these major snow events, we're known to lose power, and I would love to have the availability of the Pro Power on board generator, the power inverter, if I do need to power anything in my house if the power goes out. So I'll make sure I fill up the tank and include some footage of me driving around the snow if that's the case. But I want to thank everyone for the kind comments, words of encouragement from last week's video when I announced that I didn't have my truck and it was being checked out. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate anyone who's liked or subscribed. Admittedly, the subscriptions have been coming very slowly lately. It seemed like I was when I first started the channel, the subscriptions were coming a little bit more frequently, but now they've kind of slowed down to a putter. So my goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2022 is pretty much almost completely out of reach unless a miracle happens. Who knows, maybe it'll be a Christmas miracle. But that's okay. More or less I'm doing this because I want people who maybe were in my shoes prior to ordering the truck, or someone else who owns the truck and just wants someone else to share their experience so that they can corroborate or cross-check things that are happening with their truck, or basically decide if they want to get this truck or not. So I'm still at the point where I probably would still recommend this truck and this powertrain, but I'm definitely nervous and hoping that I can avoid future problems. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me in this video. If there's anything else you'd like me to include about any future videos on the F-150, please let me know in the comments. And having said that, I will see you guys in the next video.